So, as you said, if I'm not the doer, what's my purpose in life? Am I just...
Yeah.
It is very strange, especially when, okay, the DNA and the conditioning, and what about awareness?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you become aware, I mean, not totally aware, because I don't think that's really possible, but when you're really working into going to awareness, this is a choice. Out of the conditioning, getting out of the box. I'm talking about getting out of the box, because conditioning and DNA are boxes. That's what was given to us. But then, they're out of the box also. So if I relate to what you're saying, and it's not the ego talking, but I mean, there is a purpose in life, which is not only mechanic. It's in achieving something on a higher level, or whatever you can call it. It doesn't matter. Awareness. That doesn't fit for me in what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's really controversial.
So it's interesting. Let's look at it. I mean, we know that we're starting off in different positions. So what I will say, in a way, is going to counter what you've said, but it's just because we see it differently. So then what I put forward is, once again, it's a suggestion for consideration. That's all. So you're very right that there is a purpose in life. There has to be a purpose in life. The question is, what is that purpose in life? We start off feeling like our purpose in life is to win, to achieve. And so when that is the presupposition about our purpose in life, when we start off with that assumption that my purpose in life is to achieve, let's say, the notion of non-doership sounds totally unacceptable, because what it then brings in is, if we have this presupposition that my purpose in life is to be successful or achieve, especially as we look at things like from a higher purpose point of view, like you said, the suggestion of non-doership basically wipes any possibility of achievement off the table. It says, well, if something happens, then it wasn't my doing, so I can't claim responsibility for it. And so if we consider that with the presupposition that the purpose of life is to achieve, then these concepts sound very unappealing, because what they say is that, well, what the response would be, well, what's the point? But what if there's another purpose that actually satisfies us in a far greater way than the purpose that we have presupposed to be the purpose in life? And the suggestion here is exactly that the purpose that we have presupposed, that we have assumed to be the case all the time, in a sense amounts to achieving pleasure in the future. And so often I get comments that say, but this life is about learning. It's about development and progress. And a lot of those comments come from the place where people see that they are developing, there are changes. And I think we want to feel like I am getting somewhere, I am responsible for that, I am making these changes happen. So we can actually feel good about the positive changes that are happening. And that comes from the same dynamic that is after the job promotion, after all sorts of material gains in life. It's just now shifted from material gain, which it might have seen as not satisfying or not the purpose, and it's substituted with some other achievement that it can look at and say, yes, this is the purpose, because now it seems like it's a totally different category to material success, for example. And my suggestion is to look at and say, why do these concepts sound challenging? And I wouldn't be surprised that we find, in this case, in the case of looking at spiritual development and my purpose in life, we look at it and say, yes, it's true, I want to feel successful, or I want to feel like I have achieved something, and that would make me feel like I have a purpose in life. So what would I suggest the purpose of life is? And I say that we can conclude, based on our experience, that if continuous unbroken peace of mind settles in, so if it's delivered, so I can't say I achieved it from this perspective, but if life brings about change that delivers continuous unbroken peace of mind, what we find is that seeking stops. And when seeking is there, I have to conclude the purpose of life hasn't been achieved, because seeking is still happening. So the seeking essentially is for the purpose of life. The seeking is for our purpose. And when our purpose is, for example, competing with the other, trying to achieve things in the future, when we set that as our purpose, inevitably we find this uncomfortableness. And if we start off setting material goals, the uncomfortableness builds, and at some point we drop that, and we, let's say, move our focus on to humanitarian issues, where we're helping people, thinking, this is what it's about. But if we do that with the same attitude, we'll find even that sort of achievement, where we're achieving but for the greater good, even that isn't ultimately satisfying. We still find this uncomfortableness, and we say, there must be something more. That's what the uncomfortableness is saying. And when life brings about a radical enough shift, where that seeking for something in the future through achievement or through outcomes has fallen away, and we find it's actually about resting in our being, which only happens, in my experience, when the ideas of who we are slow down, and we realize, I am here. And then resting in being delivers peace of mind and the end of seeking. And so from that position we can conclude, the purpose of life must be to be. Must be to be at peace. Must be to accept. That becomes seen as the purpose. Acceptance, peace. It's even, we can call it love. How I can call it love is because, to me, love in its most basic and continuously available form is the absence of hate. And hate is blame, effectively. When we blame the other, we hate the other for what they have done to deliver pain to us. And so when peace of mind is there, it's the absence of self-blame or self-hate, and the absence of blame towards the other or hate towards the other. So we can say that peace is acceptance, is love. And so from that point, I would say our purpose in life is to be happy. Happy means to be at peace. At peace means to accept. To accept, to be at peace, to be happy means to love. So then that becomes what I see the purpose of life. And all of those things happen only when we know ourselves. What know ourselves means, simply the false idea of who we are falls away. That's the not knowing ourselves, when we have this image, this belief system that says, oh, I am this separate independent entity in control of everything that happens through me. I am vulnerable, I need to defend myself against the others, I need to work hard and struggle to achieve things in order to be successful, in order to have some sense of purpose or worth. That's, to me, is the false image we have of ourselves. And as it falls away, we come to know ourselves. So knowing ourselves is simply the absence of not knowing ourselves, the absence of the mistaken identity. It falls away, we come to know ourselves. And then when we know ourselves, it means we're connected to an essence that runs through every human being, an essence that, regardless of what we've achieved in that moment, whether it's good or bad, whether the body is failing or it's not, there can be a connection to something that is always the same, always self-content, always full. And because of its fullness, it doesn't then have a question of what is my purpose. The question of what is my purpose comes when we're feeling incomplete, let's say. When we're feeling like something is missing, then the question is, well, what's my purpose in life? What should I be doing? And so we ask ourselves questions. Should I start up a new business? Should I dedicate my life to helping people? Should I? And we have this continuous question is, so what is my purpose? We're looking for my purpose in life. And the purpose in life, we think, is about achieving something. Completely opposite thing ends up being revealed. It's like, oh, I am self-content, meaning there doesn't need to be an outward purpose. So the purpose ends up being to know oneself, which means to be. That in itself becomes evident. Oh, that's what this whole life is about. To just be.